Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox, and you are taking a live look over at our XRAD radar system where you see that major storm. It is very large there. Tropical Storm Alberto officially forming in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico, becoming the first named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season, which only began just weeks ago. I do want to bring in Michael Brennan, the director of the National Hurricane Center, to break down the latest forecast for us. As always, Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Man, great to be with you today.
Of course. So how are things shaping up right now?
Well, pretty much as expected. Going back to what we were expecting yesterday, we have Alberto. The system has become better organized in terms of it now being a tropical storm. But in terms of the impacts, especially that we're seeing along the coast from northern Mexico up along the coast of Texas, everything is pretty much on track. We're seeing that heavy rainfall. You can see here on the radar, heavy rainfall moving into portions of the upper Texas coast, the mid-Texas coast, all the way down to Brownsville and into northern Mexico. We have flash flood warnings in effect for places like the Corpus Christi metro area. We've seen significant coastal flooding at this morning's high tide, and some tropical storm force winds along the Texas coast. And those conditions are going to continue through the day today, through tonight, and into early Thursday along coastal areas, with that heavy rainfall spreading inland across much of South Texas.
And one question that we've seen posted kind of all over the place, and we've received, and I'm sure you're getting a lot as well, the storm itself, the center of it is going over Mexico, but the storm is so large that you are going to see those intense impacts even in the U.S., including there in Texas.
Yeah, that's right. The center of the storm is down here, and you can see this is our forecast of the center taking it inland across Mexico early tomorrow morning. But this orange area represents the extent of the tropical storm force winds, which extend more than 400 miles to the north of the center. So that's why we have that tropical storm warning in place. And as you can see from the radar imagery, the center of the storm, if we zoom out, is down here over the southern Gulf of Mexico, and the shower and thunderstorm activity again extends several hundred miles to the north as that deep plume of tropical moisture is being pushed onshore, and that's what's causing that rainfall to occur all the way up into much of South Texas.
We discussed this a little bit yesterday, but as we are seeing this storm just weeks into hurricane season, the first named storm, does that give us any kind of indication of what to expect for the rest of the Atlantic hurricane season?
There's not a whole lot of connection between the activity that we see early in the season. In fact, having the first named storm on June 19th is just a day earlier than typical over the last 30 years or so, where we typically see the first named storm form around June 20th. But the vast majority of the hurricane activity comes in August, September, and October. We are still expecting very favorable conditions for storms to develop this year, and we are expecting a pretty busy Atlantic hurricane season.
Are we seeing any other systems right now that we are keeping an eye on?
We're watching a couple of different systems today. The first one is actually out here in the Atlantic. It's a weak area of low pressure, or trough, that's moving to the northwest. Could bring some enhanced rainfall, some gusty winds to portions of Florida or the southeast coast over the next couple of days, but only a low chance of it becoming a tropical depression or tropical storm at this time. The other thing we're looking at is another area of low pressure that's expected to develop somewhere in the southern Gulf of Mexico, very close to where Alberto is now, late this weekend or early next week. So we could be looking at another system trying to take shape in the southern Gulf of Mexico as we go into next week.
All right, my last question for you. What kind of advice do you have for folks right now who are living in the area that's going to be impacted, including Texas?
Well, you certainly don't want to drive out into flooded areas. If there's flood warnings or flash flood warnings in effect for your area, please stay safe, move to higher ground, be in a safe place. Don't drive into areas where water covers the road. Your car can be swept away. You don't know how deep that water is. And have multiple ways to get emergency alerts through your wireless emergency alerts being activated on your smartphone, NOAA weather radio or weather apps. Have multiple ways to get important information, especially over in the overnight hours when you might be asleep and you might need to be alerted if there's a flash flood warning or a tornado warning issued for your area.
All right, Michael Brennan there, director at the National Hurricane Center. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Thanks so much.